Welcome to this week's vlog. It was one of those weeks this week where I decided that I really needed to come and talk to you and share a little bit of what's hopefully going to be magic for you to get you really kind of switching that mind. So when you're an entrepreneur, when you're working for yourself, when you're doing things for yourself, when you are in your own business and things are not going the way that you want them to go, realistically, what we really need to do is kind of step back and actually take time to process, stop, which for most entrepreneurs is the scariest thing that they can ever do, because we get ourselves caught in this false belief that if we stop, we're not taking action, and thus, we're not actually putting ourselves out there to create the things that we really want to create. Yet, in not stopping and in continuing to keep pounding, pushing forward, what actually really happens is not a great deal, because we have very obviously got to take that step back for some really important energetic reason. Because when we look at we look at life from the perspective that everything is energy. Actually taking that step back, going within and really starting to process what is happening and what the message is that the universe is trying to share with us is super important. Now, I had a pretty life-changing event happen to me in June, and at that point I was just taking on a new coach, and what she made me do is she made me do something that I haven't done in years, and she said, "Claire, I want you to stop." Now, those of you that know me, that have been following my journey, you will know that I've had kind of a really big shift in what I'm actually doing. So let's go back a little bit and kind of bring you forward today so it all makes sense. So 8 years ago in January, I decided to, okay, round two. The phone rang, even though I put it on Do Not Disturb. So let's pick up from where we were. 7 years ago, I decided that I was going to quit the corporate job that I was in. I was going to go out on my own. And I say corporate job, I was self-employed, have been for 20 years, but I was going to leave the contracting work that I was doing and actually go out and do it on my own, which I did. Now, at that point, a pretty life-changing event happened to me, which meant that actually I couldn't face going back to that corporate job that I had. I got pregnant after trying for quite a long time, and then really sadly I had a miscarriage. And it was one of those times in my life where I stood back and I just said to myself, I can't carry on doing what I've been doing, and I need to create some time and space for me. And actually I'd been really unhappy in this role for a really long time, and it was time for me to just step away and move away from all of it. So I started up my own thing. I was doing financial coaching, and real roller coaster, because I didn't really know anything about marketing. In fact, it wasn't I didn't really know anything about marketing. I knew nothing about marketing. I'd been very blessed to work in an environment where if I wanted a new client, I literally went to our client bank of 11,000 people and picked a new client. So basically it was a massive learning curve for me. And it was one that has been a super interesting one since, and I've learned so much since that time. But in learning that, I've been on a really momentous journey. So my thing was money. That was what I knew all about. And I started the financial coaching. It kind of went okay, not as well as I would have liked it to have gone. Took on some coaches that maybe in hindsight weren't the best people for me to work with. But again, it was a journey. It was a learning. I needed to go to that place to get to where I am now. I then decided that I was going to productize it after seeing the amazing Daniel Priestley speak years and years ago, before he became the amazing guy that he is today. And was an amazing guy then, but before he came the kind of big superpower that he is today. Anyway, when I decided to go and raise some funding, some angel investment, so I could build this super duper app and website, and very long story short, the developer totally ripped me off. It went completely wrong and I lost 100 grand. So that was pretty like catastrophic. The reason that I decided to stop and say no more with them was because actually my mum was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and you know, again, it was one of those times in my life to stand back and kind of, you know, try and reflect. And then I, you know, worked through this, tried to reinvent it in various different forms, and created in the end what became the Money Personal Trainer. Worked really, really hard on that this year, did this huge launch, and we just didn't get the numbers. And so the life-changing event happened then in June, and I just kind of said, actually, you know, what the hell is going on, universe? What am I doing here? Where am I going? And like I say, Vicky made me stop. She made me start working. She made me stop doing everything, and she made me just take some time out. Because in the midst of all of that, I had another baby. And, you know, basically in all of that time with my mum passing away, with having my daughter, I didn't actually take any time off because I told myself that I just couldn't possibly do that. So since June this year, the end of June this year, like beginning of July, I have been going completely within. I've been doing a huge amount of internal work. And a couple of weeks ago, I came across this really amazing quote, and I've talked about this on my page. I've already talked about it in another video, and I'm going to talk about it some more now. And this quote was really amazing because it provoked such a huge reaction with me, with a lot of other people, and it made me really think. And the quote was that if we don't heal the things that hurt us, then we will bleed over people that didn't cut us. And it's really very profound because we are beings of habit. We are creatures of habit. And we tend to do things in a certain way until actually we get to the point where we literally cannot do it in that way anymore. So it's really very much about us taking that time out, stepping away from everything, and really starting to discover, what was it? You know, what was the thing that hurt us? What was that event that happened, or what were those events? Because it's never just one thing. It's usually a huge catalogue of lots of other things. But we get into fear, don't we? We get into this place of fear. We get into this place of, you know, I can't do this. I couldn't possibly stop. I couldn't, you know, I've got to have momentum. You know, and entrepreneurs are very, very good at, you know, kind of ignoring what is actually happening on the periphery and being so focused on the one thing that we think we need to be focused on, when actually, ultimately, we've got to heal those wounds, because otherwise we are just continually bleeding all over people that didn't actually cut us. So I took that step back, and I have done so much work on me. I have done a huge amount of work on, you know, what my belief systems are, because I learned about this years ago and I did a lot of work on it then. But, you know, as we know in this world of entrepreneurship, as we evolve, you know, our challenges, you know, we're dealing with them based on the person that we are now. And that will continue to evolve and change as we keep going. So the whole purpose of this is for me to kind of really encourage you that if you are in a place at the moment where something, or maybe life is not going the way that you want it to go, I want you to trust. I want you to know that the universe has got your back. And I want you to just, you know, even if you only take 10 minutes after you've watched this video and start to just process, you know, what is it in your life that is not really working the way that you want it to at the moment? And what do you think the things are that are affecting that? What are the things that are stopping that from seriously happening in the way that you want it to happen? Because it's only when we stand outside of something and we look at a situation with a different set of eyes, you know, remove yourself from the situation, put yourself in a position where maybe, you know, not maybe, put yourself in a position where this is not you, this is not your life, and stand outside of it. And if you were a really great friend, a really great mentor, a really great coach, whatever role it was, giving this person advice, what would you say? What would you encourage them to do? Because in actually taking that time out and stepping back and not having the fear to do that is one of the most empowering things that you can actually ever do. Because it helps you to really see things very, very clearly. Also, what I want to say here is this is not going to be something that you're going to snap your fingers and it's going to be done. It's going to be sorted. Everything's going to be fixed. It again is a process. It's a process that you need to go through. It's a process where you're going to evolve and things are going to change for you. And, you know, that process is going to take some time because, you know, I've been on this planet for 42 3/4 years. I'm nearly 43. And I'm not going to fix all of the stuff that's happened in those 42 years in 5 minutes. It's going to be a process. It's going to take time. And most importantly, it takes commitment. And one of the things that came up for me in September was I came across this guy that I get an email from James Wedmore, and he'd done a podcast with this amazing guy called Jim Fortin, Fortin, Jim Fortin. And basically, Jim is all about kind of thinking in a very different way to how it's promoted generally in the self-development world. And basically, you know, Jim said, you know, we are encouraged to live in this world where we have to be. So, you know, to have this, to do this, you know, then we can become this person. But actually the reality is it's a complete reverse of that. It's be, do, have. It's about you being that person today, committing to yourself today, showing up as, you know, the person that you want to be in the now. Because, you know, you're never going to do it by reverse engineering it, because believe me, I've tried to do that. I've tried to do it for years and years and years, and it just didn't work. And it was only when I stepped back and said, Claire, you know, for you to actually have the life that you really truly choose to live, you've got to be that person in the now, and you've got to take one tiny little thing at a time and work on that, start to commit to that, start to get good at that, and actually really change this. So I am on day 14 of visualizing twice a day exactly how my life wants to be. And I've known about visualization for years, and I'm going to put it out there. I have told people to do this. I've dipped into it myself, and, you know, I've kind of been that person internally saying, yeah, it doesn't work. And actually, it totally works. What I wasn't doing is I wasn't committing to the process. So, you know, as my coach says, I'm not immune to any of this, and I go through this process and I am learning every single day in exactly the same way that you are. So what I want you to do is I want you to step back, take some time, look at what is really, really not happening in your life at the moment that you really want to happen, and commit to one thing for the next month. You know, that might seem a bit scary because you're like, you know, I haven't got that time, Claire, I can't wait. But actually, you know, how long have you been in the self-sabotaging position that you're in now? How long have you been in that place? Because, you know, if it's longer than a couple of months, is it really going to hurt you to actually step back and do this work and process in this way? Because ultimately you could be, you know, sort of running, not actually getting anywhere. And it could be that, you know, that glass wall is in front of you and you are running against it, and you're just not seeing that you're running against it. And actually what we need to do is smash that glass and break through it. But to break through it and to smash the glass, what we first have to do is step back and look at why we have put that self-imposed glass wall there. Because we always have. So pop some comments below. Tell me what this brought up for you. Tell me what came out of you watching this video. It's quite a long one, but hopefully it's helped you to see a few things about you and what's going on in your life. So remember, if you don't heal what hurt you, you are going to continually bleed over people that didn't cut you, including yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this week's vlog. I will catch you in the next one. Ladies, people.